Hey everybody, welcome back to the podcast. Thanks for joining us for another world building episode. I'm joined today by a very special guest. I'm joined by Nikoli of Penance RPG. Welcome along.
Good evening.
How's it going?
I'm all right. How's yourself?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. I mean, listeners, you have been on before, but it's been a couple of years. We had that interview episode.
We did an interview episode where we just started talking and then realised we were taping it.
Yeah. But that, I mean, I'm looking at my my Podbean dashboard here. That was in March 2019 that went live, so it's been a little while.
A little's changed in the world in that time, but let's not talk about that.
Yeah, I think before that, I think you briefly appeared as a voice on a radio in the Star Wars thing we did. But other than that, yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a little while.
I'm still very weird when it comes to just read this line, okay?
Yeah, say this. There you go. Thank you. Chop that up and put it places. Today, though, this is going to be the first episode of I was about to say what we're dubbing, but it's just me dubbing things in my head. What we're dubbing our Worldbuilding July to go along with World Anvil's Summer Camp 2021 event, which actually doesn't technically start till tomorrow. So this is going to be a little bit of a sort of random intro episode, I guess. Something a little different. We'll see how we get on.
Yeah. See how it goes.
Yeah, I'm going to be frantically clicking the random prompt button, I think, on the World Anvil website. We're just going to bounce a few things off each other. But think of this as a sort of soft intro to our Worldbuilding July. Basically, we're going to be doing episodes every week following the release of the official prompts for Summer Camp. But today we can't do that. So join us every Thursday as we are checking out the prompts.
Is this going to be with different guests every time, AJ?
We'll see how it goes, because I really don't have this planned.
I see. Okay.
You know how it goes by now.
Yeah. I don't know. That's fine.
I like to think I'm fairly good at making it sound like I know what I'm doing. But as soon as
that's the job of any DM, is to make sure you sound like you know what you're doing, even when you've no idea.
But then I immediately crumble under the very lightest of proddings, just like that. Like, yeah, no, this is cool. This is our official thing. And you're like, who's with you? I'm like, no one. I don't have any plans. This is happening. It's happening in real time. We'll see. Yeah, no. So it'll be fine. I'm sure one of them may end up just being me on my own, but I'm sure some people will be able to join me for the other ones. But yes. Anyway. So let's kick things off. As I say, we're just going to be kind of going through a few random prompts on using the random prompt button on the on the World Anvil site. I'm going to click it a couple of times just to get until. Yeah, I don't think we want to talk about. We don't want to talk about fashion trends. I think between you and me, that's probably not our area of expertise.
No. You might get Bellery on if you want to talk about fashion.
Yeah,
he knows what the kids say and all that. Yeah.
He is the most fashionable person we know. Okay, well, this is a fairly broad one, actually. We could start with this one.
All right.
Write about a city or town in your world which is unusual or unique in some way. So, I mean, that's possibly the most broad category ever, really.
Well, it depends, really. If you want like a sort of, put it bluntly, a backwater town that has a very weird worship thing or unique thing, or sort of, they worship the turnip god or something. I don't know. Just something weird like that. But you just walk in and everyone's holding turnips in high esteem, and you're just like, okay.
I actually quite like that. Like, just straight off, like, I've got an immediate vision in my head of there's a statue in the town square of somebody holding up a turnip, like it's like what's the pose?
I do like the idea that it's the same person holding it up, and the PCs can think, it's the person, because it's the same person you see everywhere, but no, it's the turnips they're holding.
Oh, so everybody's got this sort of
same statue of the same person in the same garb, holding up this double handful of turnips.
Oh wait, so there's more than one statue. I was just thinking like it's a big statue.
This is proper. Like, everyone's got their own statue. This is proper cult behavior. Everyone's got their own statue.
So now
and it just looks at the same person. Everyone's walking around going, right, okay, who is this guy in this statue? Because players don't look at what's in his hands, or they might say, oh, it's turnips. Well, it's turnips. This person's everywhere. This person's got to be, I don't know, something.
I don't know. In my head, I'm picturing like a kind of like a bald guy with maybe like the person in the statue, like yeah, just like a bald guy. But in my head, obviously this doesn't fit the setting. But in my head, he's wearing a lab coat, and I don't know why. So that could be.
I mean, if you're doing proper D&D, it should be like the proper Elizabethan rough style, massive shoulders.
Oh,
like a sort of not Conquistador. What's the one?
Or like a Sir Francis Drake kind of.
Yeah, that kind of style.
Well, hold on then. So what about this? So what about if this is the town which has been the first to adopt a new type of plant that has been brought by an explorer, except it hasn't like this, and so it's really kind of taken over this town as like, oh no, this is the superfood. This is the best thing we've ever had. And but outside of this town, it's not really caught on too much. But this is like they kind of revere the explorer who brought back maybe not the turnip,
like the idea that it grows wildly even 5 miles away, and people just go, "Oh, it's just a weed, no one cares." But to them, it's everything.
Yeah, maybe there was like a particularly harsh winter one year, and they got by on the abundance of this. So this is the world center for like this particular type of knobbly carrot or something.
Yeah.
I like that. So the person in the person in the statue then is the sort of discoverer, or whoever was sort of come up with it. No, we will eat these. This will get us through the winter. Which is what it's kind of like a bald old guy, maybe in like robes or something.
He ran back to the village screaming, "They grow in winter! They grow in winter!"
Which is maybe fairly well known everywhere else, but like nobody really travels in this village.
Yeah. Nobody has dared to put such things in their mouth when, hungry.
Mm.
And other places go, it's a weed.
Yeah.
What are you wanting? Yeah.
Maybe this is even like spread to like you said, they're kind of like a bit of a cult-like thing. So maybe even though there is a fairly mainstream kind of worship, like temple, like agriculture god, but like the worship has kind of seeped into that. So while elsewhere they would be kind of like a general sort of, we look after the farmers and their fields, and praise be to, I can't remember what the god. We got a list of gods on our thing, but I can't remember which one it is. Shantaea, I think it is. So maybe elsewhere they're kind of like, sort of just a bit more kind of general, like this is the god of agriculture. Here it's the god of agriculture, but mainly this turnip.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the focal point, and there's like a big stained glass window display.
Yeah, there's a big stained glass window that seems to have the same man, like sort of the proper arms open, and above him floats a turnip. Yeah.
I love it. So like, are you thinking then that is there anything sinister about this, or if it's just like a thing where it's just weird?
I think you've got the good chance that the majority of players will walk into somewhere and they'll see this same guy everywhere holding things, and they'll assume it's the guy. They won't assume it's the thing. So you could easily have them doing faux pas with it, and with turnips. Like, they go, someone hands them a turnip and say, "Oh, welcome to our village," and they go, "Yeah. Chuck it away, I don't care."
Thanks for the turnip.
And as soon as they do that, you've got the story built of the whole town turning on them because they've disrespected the noble turnip or something.
How dare you throw down this nature's bounty?
Yeah, I think that would work quite well for a village, because you need, if you run most D&D ideas across, that there's always something weird about a village, but if you don't go what people go to first, like they might see, as I said, the statue, but the same statues everywhere. And usually from people you speak to, if they go to somewhere new and they see the same statue everywhere, they go, "Oh, it's the person that's important."
Yeah.
Because it's the first thought is always, the best things in D&D work when you have something that it's not the first thought you should have that makes it the best story, if you know what I mean.
So really though, what I'm asking kind of though, is there like an actual sinister underbelly here? Or is it just something? Is it the implication is there is, but really it's just a town that just really digs turnips. But I think you could easily make it feel like there's something sinister going on, but it's actually just a town that really like turnips. Yeah, so they have so far as like the players go into like the local inn, which is called the Golden Turnip or something, and they ask for an ale.
You need to have something a bit more subtle than that, like, I don't know. I don't know. I can't remember what turnips are fall under and sort of thing. It's got to be something. Yeah, like chibbers or something similar. I don't know. I think that's just potatoes, but
yeah,
you've got something slightly more subtle than that, so they don't just grasp it from everything's named after turnips.
Oh yeah, no, I just pulled that out of nowhere.
No, I know. Sorry, I'm not meaning to.
Oh no,
But yeah, I think if you do something like that and they go in, and I like the idea that they stumble upon a secret meeting and everyone's in robes and they're discussing the turnip harvest, but just decided to meet in a dark hall in robes. Talk about the turnip harvest.
This was the only place that had enough chairs for all of us.
Yeah, it's just not something. I'll always love the idea of creating the concept of sinister when there's no sinister there.
Yeah,
it's just really cold and everyone wore really big thick robes.
It's a bit chilly tonight. This is why we've got these.
And they're just sitting around and they have like a custom where they just kind of say, the greater good. Just using the greater good one, but just something similar to that. And they just sit around in a circle and they have a little bit of chanting. They all talk about the turnip harvest, and then they talk about what else is going on. And they say, "Did you see these new people in the village? They don't know if they like turnips. Don't like travellers.
One of them was eating a potato." Ugh.
Yeah, and you just have this feeling that there's something really sinister going on, and there's like. Kind of like basically the sort of Hot Fuzz style village.
Yeah.
But there's actually nothing going on. They're just really weird. But the more you sow the seeds that there's something sinister going on, the more your players will be like, no, I want to know what's going on. I want to get to the bottom of this. There's nothing going on, but it's built enough intrigue that they will dig for hours in a puzzle that isn't actually a puzzle.
They're going to get more and more paranoid trying to find out what the secret of this village is, and the secret of this village is
paranoia is a massive hook.
There's more turnips than anywhere else. People just seem to dig them. I can't help but think of that.
I do like the idea that someone's maybe tried to plant potatoes and they've offed them. Just he's died, and everyone's like, "Did you hear about Sam? He planted potatoes, then he died."
Let that be a lesson to you young'uns. Never, the Lord hates a potato. But really, it's just like there's some absolute psychos in the town who take it a bit far. They're like, "What are you doing planting potatoes?"
Yeah. It's just, whereas actually he did just slip on his farm and land on his rake or something like that. I don't know, just something genuinely like a horrendous accident, but it was completely accidental.
Oh, so yeah, that's what I was going to say. So he wasn't murdered then. So I was thinking there could be the sinister secret is just like there's somebody who really just loves turnips so much that they really just didn't approve of like, what do you mean crop rotation? Get those turnips in the ground,
You could always have, there's one or two that seem like that, and there's whenever someone deviates, just little accidents genuinely just happen. And to everyone else, it's just, it's the god looking after them. But it's just accidental, but the players will be like, no, we need to get to the bottom of this mystery.
Like, that's the most low stakes plot hook. I love it.
But I think it's for D&D, it would be fantastic.
Though. We can get a whole session out of that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Easily.
I like it. What are we calling this turnip town?
Oh. Now you're asking questions.
Yeah, sorry, I put you on the spot a bit there.
Let me just see what we can find about turnips that we could call this. It would be.
I feel like it wouldn't be the smartest of names, though. Like, if this is a town of people who maybe don't really, they're not great travelers or whatever. They're quite content with their turnip-based existence here in like some little kind of corner.
Well, I mean, if you're doing this and you don't want people to immediately get it, you could possibly do some. So brassica is turnip.
Okay.
So if you
That's
swap
a bit on the nose.
Around, just go Cassabra.
Oh, that's not a bad name. Yeah.
Yeah,
so then we can kind of obfuscate the inn thing there, just call it like the Cassabra Arms or something.
Either Cassabra or Cassabran if you want to just make it a bit more of a sort of inlandy town.
Yeah. I'm thinking, I haven't got my map open. Let me open my map. There's plenty of areas in the countryside here. I mean...
it's got to be kind of...
A little
maybe
bit.
the other side of a mountain.
Yeah, in like a little valley or something.
Yeah, like properly, like hard to get to, as in that's why no one travels in or out.
Off the main roads, definitely.
Yeah.
There's certain areas I've got an idea that it's a lot of small villages, but even then they're fairly close together. So we maybe want to leave that and sort of have it be. There's a couple of bits that are a bit more remote.
It's got to be pretty remote and off the way, and there's maybe like one dirt track to it rather than any main road.
Yeah. Maybe on that we got the sort of peninsula words on the kind of northwest up there. We've kind of got a fairly large open area near to the mountains there, so maybe I can drop a dot in and things, and we'll drop a dot up there. That seems like it's sort of remote enough that not too many people are traveling up that way. Yeah.
And the idea of them being surrounded by mountains on the other side means they're probably quite hemmed in. So that probably would work quite well.
And the remoteness kind of explains, if we want to stick with that sort of backstory of like there was a harsh winter and they really got into it. You know, that sort of works there. You know, getting to a nearby town for help is maybe a bit off the cards in like a harsh winter blizzard or something like that. Yeah.
I mean, you could, if you always wanted to go that way, you could always have the players are coming down from the mountains and they find this village.
Yeah.
Because then that way you've got it rather than them stumbling across it in the middle of nowhere.
I'm not focused a huge amount on like players and what the player, you know, getting the players into the town so much, because you know we can always find ways of that, like you say, you can have them come down the mountains or whatever. I just want it to kind of hang together logically as a sort of place in the setting, if that makes sense. That's cool. I like that as a little town idea. Like, coming up with weird little villages is a fun thing. There's one that I've got like kind of in the middle called Potch, that I think was a name that Eden suggested, and that I have earmarked as that is the village where the musical episode is going to happen. Whenever I get round to finishing writing the musical episode.
Oh God.
Yeah. That's exactly the right response to that, because it's not going to be good. Okay, let's. Should we move on to another prompt? I think
sure.
I feel like that's about as in depth as we need to go on that. I think there's a good starting point there, and leaving room to flesh out later with characters and things and such. So the next one that came up when I hit the random button there was describe a religious monument, built or natural, which people of your world wish to visit at least once in their lifetime. My mind immediately went to I don't know how much Skyrim you've played, but
very, very little over the years, but
okay. Well, there's a place in that called the statue. I think it's the Statue of Azora, but it's like this big kind of carved, like, well, it's a big statue up in the mountains and stuff. That's where my mind went immediately, but I don't know sort of how that would fit.
It depends what if you want to do this as there's this statue that's been created that everyone must see, or if you have it that this is landmark that people that has been the sort of hearsay about it has grown so massive that everyone must come see it, and when they get there they kind of go, that's quite pathetic, that.
So it's been
but
sort
the
of just
hearsay is massive, so everyone wants to come see this, and they get off on the tourism basically for it.
Yeah. So it's been sort of associated as like, oh, this valley was carved during a fight between these two gods and such, and you get there and it's just a bit disappointing.
Not to kind of ask much about your world, but do you have anything that could be considered volcanic?
Not really in this part. I haven't really. In my head, this sort of area, you know, our main kind of bit where all the dots are on the map is a bit sort of similar to sort of Central Europe. And so there's not a huge amount of volcanic activity, but I can...
The idea of maybe like something that's been preserved from like a landslide or volcanic event, basically, that's been brought back, and it's got maybe that's someone, I don't know, just let's do the sort of... you look at the sort of lore style of the world and you say something like, you know, someone looked at it and they regained the ability to speak, or someone... It's got this sort of weird, twisted local belief that this is actually magical, whereas it might just be, you know, a preserved pig,
so like
or a preserved dog, or
Blarney Stone type thing.
Yeah.
There's actually, like, in the local church near to me, there's a weird story about, like, and it's obviously apocryphal, but apparently when they were building the church, there was, like, they didn't have the right length of beam, and then there was a carpenter there who nobody recognized, and the next day they came back and the beam was the right length, and it's called the miraculous beam, and they're like, oh, it was Jesus.
That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Something like that, I think, as a monument. Yes, you could do statues and busts and stuff, but I think having a naturally occurring thing that the locals are all speaking in whispers that, it's St. Dave's well, and whenever you take water from St. Dave's well, it cures all illness. Just something weird like that.
Yeah.
That it's been blown out of proportion completely because it's passed throughout the world. The world knows of this. Maybe no one knows where it is, but the world knows of this, and
maybe there's like some royal connection, like there was an afflicted sort of prince or something. You got the plague or something or other, and yeah. You could have it like there was a prince on his way back from a battle, and he was wounded, and they thought he wouldn't survive, and they gave him water from this well, and he magically got better. Just something like that, something weird, and just something that you can easily have people thinking this thing is magical. Everyone needs to come see this thing, and it's actually just a naturally occurring spring, a naturally occurring well. It's just got the lore and hype built up so much because one time it was useful. And the truth of the matter is that it was a perfectly natural remission of whatever was going wrong, or whatever.
It's basically placeboed its way into becoming this magical monument. Which
also, we have the side thing as well of it that they're it's a D&D setting. The gods are actually real.
Yeah,
but so maybe there's some kind of like disagreement of people say, oh no, this is obviously that this is evidence of the healing hand of this god, and other people are like, no, this isn't the place. That nobody can really agree on which god it sort of is empowering this.
Yeah, I kind of like the idea that there's this. Well, this is the kind of side shoot, but I kind of like the idea that there's this massive church somewhere, and it's built entirely because it was near this tiny trickle of a stream. Because this tiny trickle of a stream was what gave the power to someone, or saved a prince, saved a king. But it's been completely dwarfed by this massive church. But this church is like, no, we're here because of St. Gerald's stream or something like that. I don't know what you want to call it.
We're here because this is an important religious site. But so it's basically a church has sprung up, and the only things around it are kind of, like you say, tourism related. So there's sort of like various sort of lodges for the faithful, but then there's also quite a lot of sort of people selling robes with I visited such and such.
Yeah, proper go full tourism on it.
Yeah, there's guys selling little bobbleheads and things.
Yeah, people selling little vials of water from it.
Of course. Yeah, be selling that. I like that. I've actually already got a town called Lightwell, but that's kind of on a main road. I like the idea of this actually being like you say, not completely. I don't want this to be like as remote as the Turnip village.
I think this should basically be, you're possibly looking at the sort of mountain pass somewhere, and it's maybe off to the side of the road.
Yeah,
like they found this naturally occurring spring somewhere off the road over the mountain, and that's where this is all sprung up from. So it's a bit of a trek to get to, but that's kind of what they think means it's more. They have pilgrimages to this and everything because people want to get up the mountain, and there's the hard way to get up or the easy way in the road, and these people are all determined to get up the mountain because they're showing that they deserve to be healed at the end of it, and
the pilgrim's path kind of thing. Yeah,
it's something crazy like that.
But if you've got 5 copper, Ted with his cart will take you up there.
Yeah. Take you up the pilgrim's path.
Yeah. Well, there's actually I'm kind of looking at where I've put lakes and things. I mean, this is all fairly arbitrary, really. A lot of the rivers and lakes are just kind of drawn as like, oh, that's cool. That sort of fits the
thing is, you don't even need to have it connected to much. It could just be like there's a tiny, maybe even 6-foot length of spring that starts here at the top of this mountain, and it just keeps going down. And it disappears out, and then it reappears as a massive river further down. But it's this section that's
this is the holy section.
Yeah.
Okay, that also, I think actually that might be an extra place to add in. I will add that in as a new place rather than trying to assign that to a dot that I've already got on the map.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that idea of like
the only thing there is like a tiny village and this massive cathedral.
A little tourist trap that's sort of
sprung up for the everyday everyone that lives there and just making as much money as possible on the backs of, we've got all these vials of this water and you can only look at it for X amount of time and you're not allowed near it in case you drink from it.
I mean, there's a little bit of a predatory kind of industry there of like...
I do like the idea as well. There's been like there's someone that does you're not allowed to drink from the well yourself. You've got to have someone anointed to come and take the water and then hand it to you. So you can't contaminate it.
The high priest of the spring must bless it each time.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I'm all for putting in weird little places and stuff like that most likely we'll never visit in a game, but it's just fun as like that place, and then I can drop it into conversation as like, oh yeah, so you've been there and things.
Yeah, I mean, if you came up with a name for the spring, like I don't know, say you named it after a previous king, previous prince, previous something, previous war general or something, and you had that, and you just had it as it's St. Blas stream. Yeah. And you just talk about it. Oh, it's apparently the most healing power in the whole of the realm. All you need to do is mention it in passing. You don't ever need to say where it is, and because if you ask them where is it, they go, "Oh, we don't know where it is, but we hear it's really good." And then if they want to research it and they want to go that way, then you can actually have they find the path to it.
But it's one of those things, like you say, everyone's kind of heard of it as a thing of like, oh yeah, they've been to so and so down the road, went on pilgrimage there, and he came back and he could walk again. And most of these tales, if not 99% of them, are apocryphal. People have been, but they want to keep face. They don't want to admit that they travelled for 2 weeks in the back of a cart and it turned out to just be a river.
You could easily just have it that person was bedridden for 5 years, and then doing all this walking actually healed them from their muscles going atrophy and actually being used and pumping blood to their legs and actually recovered that way. But no, it's drinking the water.
The next random prompt that came up, I don't think we'll do it because this is a little bit sort of this has sort of consequences in games and things, was create a love interest NPC for one of your PCs and add consequences. I feel like we'll probably leave that for now.
Yeah, mainly because I'm not. I don't really know what your NPCs are. I don't really know what.
In terms of ongoing games at the moment, we're kind of on hold with the group of that are sort of trapped inside a giant obsidian sphere within a mountain at the moment, and the other group have been trapped within a time bubble for quite some time as well.
There's not really much love interest you can do in a time bubble unless you've got like an ooze that follows them or something.
Especially when time is passing normally for them, but they seem to be sort of frozen in time for everybody outside. Not a lot of love interest going on, really.
No.
So I think we'll skip that prompt for now. This is an interesting one, though, the next one. Describe an endangered species in your world. Why is it in this position? I like the idea of... Well, no, I don't like the idea, but the idea of like a kind of rare variety of animal that was sort of just so delicious.
Yeah. My initial thoughts there was just go with the traditional one of what was the animal that was described as delicious that was found by sailors and just immediately eaten by everyone?
It's like a type of turtle, wasn't it? I think. And they kept eating them on the way back to England. So a specimen never made it back. I think that's the story. I can't remember where I heard that.
It's a QI, I think it was.
Yeah, that does sound like a QI fact. But yeah, something like that. Maybe not a turtle, because we're in kind of like a temperate
dodos
climate.
As well were one.
Yes.
And apparently were large flightless birds that were delicious. They were devoured very
with no fear of humans. So they just would, Well, that actually gives me the idea. We've got a few little islands around the coast.
Yeah.
Maybe there's and we actually, our last Worldbuilding episode, we talked about the Amethyst Isles. Maybe there was something indigenous to there, which was perfectly fine as a population, but once the Isles became kind of part of the larger nation, people started exporting them as they were like, oh, this is a delicacy. But then, of course, the sort of call for that as like we want to try this. The demand's going up and up and up, and the population is just sort of dwindling.
I mean, you could have them in a way that they're tied into like pandas; they just can't breed in captivity.
Oh, that's another twist.
So that's why this pocket of refuge of this nearly extinct animal are only surviving, because when they tried putting them in captivity or tried moving them anywhere, the conditions were just so minusculely off that they just couldn't breed and continue.
Yeah, so
they just died for no reason.
They can't be farmed, kind of thing.
Yeah,
yeah. Well, the whole thing with the amethyst stars is they're kind of infused with this sort of low-level magical field. We talked about this on previous sort of world building episodes that we did. So maybe that's sort of most things on the islands have been affected one way or another. Maybe their
sort of lifeblood, maybe tie in the sort of traditional elf thing from most other literatures where elves they need that residual magic to properly survive as a species. So just have them.
So maybe that's why they can't be sort of kept in captivity elsewhere. Yeah.
They just don't have that residual magic in the soil or the earth or the air, whatever one it is. That's why they just can't survive anywhere else.
But that's also what makes them so delicious.
Yeah.
Just that they're a little bit tangy. Leaves your tongue glowing or something.
Yeah, they turn your tongue pink. They turn your tongue, I was going to say pink, turn your tongue yellow or something for a day, but because they leave such delicious tastes and it dances on your taste buds, makes everything else taste good or something. I don't know.
So I'm kind of, I don't know. I'm a vegetarian. I want to put this out there for listeners. So it's a little weird to kind of think of what are we going to call this really delicious animal that we've come up with. In my head, I'm kind of like I'm picturing like you said dodos, but kind of like a dodo crossed with a puffin. I want it, and with the magical field, I feel like it would be fairly. I've got thinking like a kind of iridescent sort of sheen to it.
I kind of feel that they've got to have a name that when someone says this name, you kind of go, what? If you've never heard of them, but if you talk to anyone rich, they said, we had roast this, and everyone goes, but aren't they extinct? No, my family.
Oh, the decadence, yeah.
It's got to be something stupid, it's got to either be something incredibly fancy or incredibly, mundane. So it's got to be like an oof, or, what was the one that's the several animals together to make it look like one mythical creature?
What do you mean? I know what you mean. Like a chimera.
Kind of. Let me just see.
I'm also thinking of that, like the fake mermaids that used to get made by people stapling monkey skeletons to fish, put in freak shows. This
is it's apparently engustration is the cooking technique in which remains of one animal are stuffed into another animal.
Yeah.
And weirdly, when I look this up on Wikipedia, it says see also, and the only thing on see also is whole stuffed camel.
Okay. That's a new one on me. I was thinking, I'm pretty sure it's turducken, isn't it, where you put like a turkey in.
Turducken is mentioned here, yeah.
Yeah. Again, vegetarian, not eating it myself.
So not one that had they'd put the legs of a pig and then have chicken wings and something all together, and they have parts of animals all sewn together.
Probably people eat anything.
Yeah. I mean, you could basically go. It depends how elaborate you want them to be, because if they're very old creatures. Kind of like the dodo was. The dodo has a very a name.
It's kind of a silly name, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking a kind of
the sort of it's a very sort of old name. It's not like an explorer found it. It's very much so
like a slightly silly sounding name then, really.
Yeah. As I said, maybe something like an oomph or a oof or a something that sounds just what's that? Oh, it's a.
What about a Badoof?
Yeah.
I mean, actually, that's very close to the Pokemon Bidoof. But my brain went Badoof as in bad. Yeah. Maybe that's the noise that the first person who tried to catch one made when he fell off the cliff and landed on a rock.
Yeah, You got to give them a weird name, something sort of short and stubby, because they basically. Well, I imagine they're. Are we still thinking they're the sort of small flightless birds? Are we thinking what kind of creature are we thinking they are?
I am thinking like a kind of bird, like a kind of. But I don't know about flightless, but sort of population limited to like small islands there, so maybe they don't. They really just behaviorally don't go very far.
I mean, you could have it like a sort of ostrich, but not having it being even remotely have the the powerful legs. They're just literally just a plump bird that just walks around.
Yeah, kind of waddles about,
easily looking like a penguin.
Yeah, that's in my head. I'm thinking penguins, puffins, dodos. That sort of vibe.
Yeah.
I like umph as an ending syllable. So
we could do a pudumph.
Pudumph. I like that.
Yeah.
A pudumph. Yeah, which it's got that sort of like, oh, that sounds kind of silly. That's a silly name.
Yeah,
sort of thing.
Essentially when someone rich says, "Oh, we had 3 roasted pudumphs," and you're like, "What the fuck's a pudumph?"
It's about 50 gold per bird is what it is. Yeah, no, I like that. A pudumph. And it's, like you say, it's kind of... they've gotten endangered because, yeah, they're kind of a little bit stumpy and waddle about. And
the fact that I like the idea that they get distracted easily. If you walk into their enclosure and they all just start following you in a line. They're very, very thick and very easily distracted.
Yeah. Like even though they've been hunted to near extinction, they've still not really developed much of a sort of fear of people coming to get them and such. Maybe, like I say, the dodo thing of like they didn't really, they're a bit thick.
Yeah, they still sort of walk up to you and be like really curious at you, and you're holding a knife in front of them. They're just like, "Oh, what's this?
That's shiny. Well, very pointy as well. Oh, what's happening to Gerald?" Yeah.
You stab one of them, the rest all come over. They don't get angry. They just look at Gerald like, "Why is he not moving?
Why is Gerald's head not on anymore?" That's very strange.
There's some strange liquid on the ground here. Yeah, just the idea that they just have no survival instincts at all.
Yeah. Again, like I can't say it enough. It's a bit of a weird prompt for me. Well, no, the prompt itself isn't weird. It's just where we've gone with it being the vegetarian thing and being like, okay, let's come up with a reason this bird was eaten to death.
I do like the idea that, as we said, the magic tasting thing, they have the sort of golden berry effect, that they just change the taste of everything else you eat after it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, all of that adds to how, people would want to eat them, I suppose.
Yeah, they've got to have something unique about them that makes them so desirable by the rich. And I think the idea that there's something, like, as I said, the sort of golden berry, but in meat form.
Well, and the eggs as well, maybe have like their own sort of prized sort of, but the birds themselves are quite the delicacy, but then so are the eggs. So this is all leading to like...
I mean, you could have that because they're raised in magic, they've got a sort of rainbow colour to the eggs. If you just have them like cooked, they've got sort of vibrant, very colours to them, like an oil spill.
Yeah. Well, I was already kind of thinking like the kind of sheen on the birds themselves is sort of they're a bit kind of iridescent, a bit kind of to catch the light in a weird way and stuff. And yeah. Which sort of fits in with some of the other stuff Eden and I came up with for the Amethyst Isles before, with like these crystal golems and things, and yeah, I like it. Pudumphs. I'm expecting. I really want a drawing of a pudumph.
Just have to ask Klepto really nicely.
Well, this was my subtle way of doing it without saying, Klepto, please draw me a pudumph. But
oh god.
Yeah. Okay. I think let's do one more. That's going to be a neat intro, I think, to the our Worldbuilding July. Let's make it a fun one. Okay, well, here's one to end on then. So, reviled or revered, describe a profession that causes strong reactions in a culture.
Profession?
Now, I actually kind of want to tie this back.
You wouldn't do a pudumph hunter.
A pudumph hunter. Yeah, I feel like there's definitely some... there's going to be some strong opinions on that, I think.
Especially if they're just a wild one, like a bounty hunter, but yeah. Anyway.
I kind of think... I want to tie this one back, actually. I had the immediate thought on that was like an Inquisitor of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
And we've kind of we did a sort of overview episode a little while back about the kind of surrounding nations around our kind of main focused one. And to the south, there's one called Sarvea, which we'd sort of said this is kind of like they're building up to, there's a sort of growing kind of overtly kind of Spanish Inquisition style kind of movement on the grow there that thinks, the nation is sort of on the brink of chaos and only they can kind of bring things back and that. So I thought, because it's a reviled or revered, so that this could kind of, as a sort of Inquisitor for them, would kind of fill both those descriptions a little bit. We didn't really specify which particular god it was that these ones are working for, religion-wise. Only that sort of they've got this opinion that sort of, things have gone too far, and give it another 10 years and there'll be like a kind of big religious war type kind of thing kicking off. Yeah. It was kind of the state we sort of explained that as being in. So I like to think that we're kind of in the early days of these sort of figures, kind of quite severe.
Are you going like the sort of witch hunter types as well, that they kind of walk into village and just walk in and they just sort of look around looking all very intense, and then they walk into an inn and say, there's a painting on one of your walls that's obviously of the devil. Either you, not only do you want to remove it, but we're going to burn you because you've, had this painting up and people are tainted.
That's exactly what I had in mind. That kind of sort of, pretty much they're looking for sin. They're looking for, evil in inverted commas, and they're going to find it wherever they go because they,
Yeah. You could do that. You could give them a sort of, sort of Spanish Inquisition style witch hunter, where they walk and they just find sin everywhere, and they're, the traditional way that you'd imagine witch hunters is they kill people and they have like public trials and stuff if they want to make
at the stake and whatnot.
Yeah, and then, but I think in this kind of, I kind of like the idea they just start fires. They're just like, your end is a travesty. We're just going to now lock you into and just set fire to it.
Yeah. So they maybe haven't got the like societal, like we're not quite at the tipping point yet. Like these are the first sort of first arrivals of a kind of Inquisition type thing.
I do kind of like the idea that they're just followed, or it's like two of them on a horse and they're followed around by this large cart full of barrels of oil, and they just roll 2 barrels into any building they want to set fire to and just light it. Yeah.
And so, who's going to stop us kind of thing.
Yeah, you can't stop us, and it doesn't matter if your building won't burn, we'll make it burn.
Yeah, we've got the backing of, the church or whatever. We are
our
consciences are clean, no matter how many people lives are destroying or we're killing, in this. We know we're on the right side of history, even though they're clearly
they're clearly mad, but that's clearly the whole point of them.
Yeah,
is they just go into a village and they just look at things, and even if it's something as small as I said, there's a portrait on a wall, or someone's drawn a devil on one of your tables. They're like, this is the sign the devil is near. We're going to burn your tavern.
Yeah, this is clearly a den of iniquity, den of sin. It has no place in
No place in God's true and clean land.
Yeah.
So we're going to incinerate it all. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. I kind of like an idea of like, I don't like an idea. It's a lot that they've got a kind of branding thing with them as well. That like, I don't know, they're not killing everyone. Like you say, the arson thing is definitely a thing, and if people happen to be in there, then so be it.
I think if you're going to do something like that, it's literally just going to be a case of that they just go, like, this is the den. If we destroy the den, then the devil will become more. And they like to sort of hang around after to see who's most distraught by that building going. And then they're like, right, you're distraught by us burning down the tavern. Therefore, you must have been the devil that was hanging around in it, because the devil would be bothered by this building disappearing.
Definitely, yeah. So then, are they then dragging people off, or are they branding them as a servant of evil? Or
I kind of think if you're going to do the full-on crazy, you could have them, they have their own little caravans that go with them. As I said, the one that's got the big barrels of oil And one's got they've just got like a sort of large cage cart with them, and they just cart people into it.
Yeah.
And then just go off from town to town. They don't even bother to. And then once they've done their circuit of about 4 towns, then they send those 2 carts off and get new ones.
I like that as a sort of, as I say, I kind of want to give the vibe of like, this is the very early stages of a kind of budding Inquisition. So maybe when they're getting to towns, they're really not seeing the sort of rising up of like, they're not turning up and going, there's a witch here, and everyone in the town is suddenly with them on it, if you know what I mean. So they are kind of, they're strong in their faith that they are doing the right thing, but they are not receiving unconditional backing from the people.
Yeah, I like the idea that they're doing the proper thing that the sort of witch hunters things did, which were the Inquisition did, where they would be like, "Have you said your prayers today?" to anyone, and they get annoyed at people who don't go and pray several times a day, but they are never seen to pray once.
Yeah,
because they're the word of God. God, they don't need to pray. God knows they're doing the right thing.
Yeah. This is almost part of their thing. No, some people pray at the temple. We serve our God by removing his
pray
enemies.
by removing devils.
Yeah. I like that. Bit of a downer note to kind of end this episode on, but hey, there you go.
Oh yeah, it's if you're gonna end on burning an Inquisition, then it's how it's gonna go.
Setting a weird tone for our start of our world building July, but I like that as a kind of thing. I like all the things that we've come up with today. So we got Pudumps. I'm gonna have to write that down because I do. I love them.
Pudumps. We've got the
Inquisition. We've got
the small stream, the religious stream. And we've got the Turnip Village.
I like it. There's a good wide breadth of fun stuff to add to the setting there. So thanks so much for joining me for this. This has been a lot of fun.
Anytime, as I said, I'm more happy just to sit and ramble these ideas off anytime. So just check me anytime.
Definitely. So before I go into all the links and things for this podcast, would you like to plug your own?
Plug our own, yes. Well, I'm from Penance RPG. I do most of the story writing and stuff for that. You can find us pretty much anywhere at Penance RPG, including on Twitch now, which is twitch.tv/Penance RPG. We are in the middle of a hiatus at the moment because we are looking for an editor. Because we're just having I'm just personally having a little bit of problems doing all the editing myself, which is what I've done for the last 5 years. So we're looking for an editor at the moment. Hopefully we'll find one relatively soon, and then we can get back to properly putting episodes out, because we do have them. They are coming. They will just be maybe in 1 or 2 weeks before they're properly out. But once they get back to normal, we're back to our usual weekly schedule, usually on Sundays. But we've got a lot of stuff coming up. We've got more 2015, which is our cyberpunk style story. And we've got 1 or 2 one-shots we've taped, and I think we've got a couple of other things. And I'm also working on the Halloween one. There will be a Halloween one this year as well, which we usually have, where we get lots of people in to do basically the same story ran multiple times to different groups. Yeah,
your Halloween ones are always a lot of fun. I think I've been on, I think most of them, haven't I, at this point? But usually as part of the sort of as a kind of penance home group, rather than as a pretending with dice kind of group. Sort of thing. Yeah,
I think we've done 3. Yeah, we did 3 now, because we did Eisenport, the first one, which was one about which is based on a Lovecraft style.
Yeah.
Then the second one we did was Lovely Doralhursk, which was the fun one with the man in the tower and the obsession with blood.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
Then the one we did last year was, I've forgotten what the name of the village from last year's one was, but it's the one with it was Lucobar, yes. It was Lucobar last year, and it was the one with the small fuzzy creatures.
That was it. Was that the one I played like the prospector, and Barry played a stuntman?
The prospector was the Doralhursk. I remember that because Barry was the daredevil that kept changing his horse's name.
Yeah, I feel like we ruined that for you.
I can't remember what age it was last year. But anyway, there's those, and there's one this year. I'm in the middle of writing.
The first year I played it, I was attempting to do like a gangster voice, and it didn't go very well.
Oh yes, you were playing Mr. Wizzle this year.
That was it. Yeah, I was playing a children's birthday party magician. Yeah.
Brilliant, yeah. There will be one this year which will probably be taping. I haven't properly written it yet. I just realised it's in July already. We need to probably write it up the next month or so, and probably tape some in August, some in September, and get them out for October. But yeah, if anyone does want to be a part of the Halloween things, if they send us a message either on Penance RPG Twitter or I think where it was the best way to contact us.
Yeah.
No, probably just Penance RPG Twitter.
Penance RPG on all the things, really, isn't it?
Yeah, just send us a message anywhere there and just say you'd like to be part of this year's Halloween, and we will find a group for you. Usually we put it out to everyone and see what their response is. So yeah, that'll be fine. But yeah, awesome. That's been that. I've mostly been doing the Twitch recently, where I've been playing through like Resident Evil and whatnot, so just for the fun of it. I think we're playing through Shadow of Mordor at the moment. So yeah,
tune in. Penance RPG on Twitch. Awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll stop my plugs there and let you continue.
It's all good. So yeah, like I said at the start, for the rest of July, we're going to be releasing an episode a week here on Pretending with Dice, doing world building stuff. The rest of it based on the summer camp prompts from World Anvil. So yeah, tune in every Thursday for that. In the meantime, though, you can, as always, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, all of which we're at Pretend with Dice. Come and join us on our Discord server, the links to which are in the contact page of our Podbean site and in our Twitter bio. It's a lot of fun on there. We are just gearing up, actually, to record our very first listener one-shot. With people from the Discord server. So yeah, if you want to get involved in that, come and join us.
I can't remember.
Well, that is going to be Jeff, Klepto, and Sharona. We are doing, I think the tentative title, which is what I'm basing what I'm writing on, is The Great Meat Heist.
Yes.
Which I believe just came out of like a Jackbox Games joke or something or other. But hey, it's going to be... I'm in the middle of writing it at the moment. It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, join us on the Discord server. Who knows, you might get to play in a game with us. But yes, we will see you next week. Thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Good night, folks.